Welcome to the Mail Time Podcast. I am joined today by Lizzy Savetsky. Lizzy, thanks so much for joining.
Hey, Daniel. Thanks for having me. I'm a big fan of your work.
So you're in the news. People accused you, either online or in publications, of perhaps, maybe, potentially receiving money from the Israeli government. Let's start plainly. Have you received any money directly or indirectly from the Israeli government?
I have never received $1 directly or indirectly from the Israeli government. I have never even so much as taken a reimbursement for a taxi ride or a coffee when I have been invited to their events.
So you took issue with the JTA article, I think Times of Israel, Ynet. You issued a cease and desist. Can you elaborate a bit about what that's all about?
Yeah, certainly. So, of course, I am absolutely no stranger to defamation about me in the press. It's the nature of what I do. Even long before October 7th, I have been experiencing this. But the reason that this time was different was because it felt like um, it was there's an agenda clearly that the Jewish media and the others who ran with this story have. I'm going to leave your viewers to use their imaginations about what that may be. That ultimately, they were okay with printing this lie, and it hurts all of us. It hurts the entire Jewish world. And it delegitimizes the work that I and these other activists do. And it's also not for nothing contributed to the amount of death threats and overwhelming hate that I receive. There has been a direct uptick in that, so much so that the FBI actually called me last week for an in person meeting. We've talked to the FBI. We've had an ongoing relationship with them because of the amount of threats, but they wanted to meet because of the uptick. And they asked me why. And I had to tell them that it was because of this story that has now led the masses to be accusing anyone posting anything about Israel of being paid. I'm sure you've heard that $7,000 per
Right.
post by the Israeli government.
Right. So there was a FARA disclosure and that they were trying to influence opinion. I think that's separate from anything obviously that you do. I think perhaps, at least according to what I read on the bottom of that JTA article, they're saying that it came out the same day that those pictures were posted where you were in the meeting with Bibi Netanyahu. Are you aware of other influencers getting paid by the Israeli government?
I don't know anyone in my space who has been offered money by the government. If they have, they haven't told me about it. It's never come up in conversation. Um, I haven't heard that. And, it's also, from my understanding, my, you know, the little I have learned about all of this, it's actually illegal to take money from a foreign government without being registered as a foreign agent. And you could literally go to jail for taking money from a foreign government without going through that process. So I think if anyone did do that, they would have to be registered. And if not, it would be very irresponsible.
What do you say to people that see your picture with Prime Minister Netanyahu and made it political in the sense that they think, okay, now you're taking lines from the government. Maybe you're not taking money, but you're taking lines or you're trying to push a narrative that the government is promoting. How do you respond to that argument?
I have always been extremely honest and outspoken about my views. It's never been about popularity or financial gain for me. And I mean, you can look to my past and my history and all of the controversial things that I've said and done because I believed in them. And it would be foolish of me to do that if, I was trying to keep people happy or to make money, because it's actually, sticking to the truth and sticking to my views and my values has only actually hurt my career many times. Um, but I do it because that's why I do what I do, is to share the truth and to be honest. Um, and for me, I have been very open about the fact that I have been supportive of Prime Minister Netanyahu and his political party. Um, I also believe that it is my job as an American Jew to support whoever the prime minister of Israel is. And if it was a prime minister from a left wing party, I would have met with them too. Um, but being my how open I am about my political views, I think of course people are like, oh, of course she is being paid by Bibi, and that's why she says these things.
And I'll just say again, it's highly concerning that they try to put this dual loyalty issue in there and saying that you're promoting things or other influencers are promoting things only because you're Jewish and you want to basically shill for a foreign government. No, you're actually making a case based on American values and the alignment there. I'm assuming that as you don't have Israeli citizenship, correct?
No, I don't. I'm an American. I do not have Israeli citizenship. And I think that's why I was so angry that it was the Jewish press that ignited this story. And now, of course, it's picked up like wildfire and it's everywhere. But because at the end of the day, I believe that the entire Western world, it's in our best interest to support what Israel is doing. It would be very foolish to not do that. I mean, they're on the front lines of the war on terror for all of us, but that's not how people see it because there is an underlying current of anti-Semitism that just has penetrated and blinded everyone from their ability to see that Israel is really their best friend here.
Are you seeing most of the hatred that's coming from, say, the Nick Fuentes type people, or from the left wing, say the Max Blumenthal type people?
Oh, I love this question. These days it's everywhere and it's very overwhelming. I'm getting it from the far right. I'm getting it from the far left. I'm getting it from my fellow Jews. And that's the thing that really upsets me. But I think that we had maybe been in denial about the anti-Semitism on the right, and we are starting to see more and more of that. And like the Tucker Carlson and his whole posse are very equally dangerous. And, I still overall am seeing more vitriol coming from the woke left, but the woke right is very rapidly creeping up.
I'll say Nick Fuentes shared two of my pieces of content last week, and I've never in my life received this much hatred on X. It was actually insane. The way in which it was just outright Jew hatred, commenting on my kippah or commenting on the fact that I'm Jewish, nothing to do with any of the ideas. They weren't even accusing me of saying, "Oh, you got paid for it." You're just saying you're a nasty Jew. Look at your face. I mean, crazy things that I had not personally experienced. And that to me is extremely frightening. Are you concerned for your family's safety in light of this, especially meeting with the FBI?
I would be foolish not to be. It's only going to get worse. I live in New York City where Zohran Mamdani has just been elected mayor, and he's has been unapologetic about his alignment with terrorists and terror supporters, and has refused to say that Hamas should de-arm, has refused to condemn Hamas. So, yeah, I am scared, and I am absolutely a target. After Charlie Kirk was murdered for speaking the truth, I think all of us had a dramatic wake up call because for so long, it was easy to stay in denial and say, oh, these are just people online spewing their hate. But apparently they can come out from behind their screens and actually kill you. And yeah, I mean,
And
the
I mean,
FBI is,
he was murdered speaking on a college campus. That to me is
yeah,
like it's a next level thing. You're speaking, having a discussion on a college campus. Agree with him,
yeah.
disagree with him. Who cares? You murdered him on a college campus.
And I mean, I'm here right now in Boston to speak at a college campus, and I'm on a campus tour right now. And yeah, I would be foolish to not be afraid. And I was just having this conversation with my assistant actually about how I have really changed how much I share about my personal life on my Instagram. I used to share everything. I still post my kids, but they used to be like the main part of my content. And I am very selective about what I do and don't share. And I said, if I could dial it back, if I knew that I'd be in this situation I'm in now, I wouldn't post them. But it's like the ship sailed. Um, but yeah, it's scary. The FBI, they're taking it very seriously. they came to my apartment. They wanted to sit down with me. They wanted to talk to me about all these threats, and they wanted me to know that they're on it. Um, but yeah, I mean, it's not a comforting feeling. And
No, and
the thing that is so infuriating, and like I keep going back to, is like, how could the Jewish media do this to me, do this to us? They know, Ynet actually published an article last year, and the headline of it was Lizzy Savetsky has the police at her apartment more often than her friends. They know the threats that I'm getting, and they still ran with this story. A picture of just me and with talking about influencers being paid, leaving the reader to just deduce whatever they choose to from that. I mean, what would you think if you see a picture of an influencer, one influencer, and then that's the headline? So it's infuriating. I feel extremely betrayed by
look,
them, and
I'm
in the
pretty
name of clickbait.
I'm pretty plugged into the space, and just looking at it without looking too much at every single sentence, again, because that's what happens. You see the headline, you don't necessarily read the entire article, and you assume that there's a cabal of people that are getting paid. And again, I actually think you should get paid by organizations when you represent them, and I'm assuming you do get paid when you show up at certain galas or when you speak for organizations, right? It's your job, you're getting paid, and you're bringing
Yeah.
people and putting people in the seats. So great. Wonderful.
Yes.
God bless you. But the implication that you're somehow like a foreign agent is deeply troubling, especially if it's not true. But
Yeah. The fact that people are now assuming that everything I say is that I'm just a mouthpiece for the Israeli government. That's could not be further from the truth, and it's such a dangerous accusation. And I believe it's coming from the left wing
Well,
Jewish community.
it's actually funny when they say the Israeli government. What is the Israeli government? You can't get the Israeli government to get any messaging done properly when it comes to these things. The idea that they can't even message between the IDF and the prime minister's office, and there's all sorts of different things going on, and all of a sudden you're going to say, "Oh, well, here's the mandate from Bibi's mouth that he is, Bibi isn't sure what's going to happen with the Gaza ceasefire. Let me call Lizzy Savetsky and tell her what to say on Instagram." I mean, this is just obscene. So it doesn't
No,
make
and
any
the
logical sense.
meeting was, yeah, the meeting was that we had with Bibi was literally just him asking us what our biggest concerns were, and him addressing them. And honestly, he just wanted to thank us for putting our lives on the line. It's obviously nowhere near, doesn't come anywhere close to soldiers putting their lives on the line. I mean, I would never compare myself to that, but what we do, we are very much in the digital line of fire. And as we've seen, it doesn't always stay digital. And, we've devoted our lives to this, and it hasn't been without pain and
Right,
struggle.
and just to clarify, because I know people, they love to clip things and say, "Oh my God, she said she put her." No, what you're talking about is the fact that your phone number has to be extremely hidden, your address has to be hidden, where your kids go to school has to be hidden, all of these things that you have some whack jobs on the internet, as you saw with Charlie Kirk and others, will
Yeah.
try to do crazy things. That's what you've done, where a lot of people might agree with you or disagree with you, but they're not putting anything out there. Their Instagram has a few hundred people or 1,000 people on private. So I understand what you're saying in terms of the sacrifice,
Yeah.
because you have to live in this weird shadow. The idea that someone like a Ben Shapiro needs 6 bodyguards is crazy, right? Ben is a podcast
Yeah.
host. Uh, that's,
Exactly.
and I saw that picture also of Barry Weiss when she first took over at CBS, and she has all these armed guards outside. I'm like,
She
this
has
is
a huge
crazy.
security
She
team.
is
I
she is
know.
a editor in chief of CBS News and the
I
Free
know.
Press, and she needs to have armed guards. That's a
I was
pretty
just talking
crazy.
to her about it, actually, like the budget for her security. It's crazy. And like the fact that this is what we need because we're Jewish, like, and I mean, that's like everyone wants to pretend that it has nothing to do with that. That is why. It's
Well,
because Ben
I would say it's
Shapiro.
a political agenda, because, for example, Norman Finkelstein, he's Jewish, right? I don't think he needs a single bodyguard. No one's
No,
doing
no,
anything
it's
to
true.
him. He's
It's true.
just he's a
Yeah.
Jew, but he's got. Does Max Blumenthal need a single bodyguard? No, nobody
No.
cares about him. It's only when you stand up and you say, "I'm Jewish, I'm proud, and I want to speak the truth about politics in a way that is not woke, left, crazy, progressive," then you need security guards, because they're the ones who are doing all this insane stuff. It has
Yes.
nothing to do with the Jewish identity. No, Dave Smith doesn't need a bodyguard. Who cares about Dave Smith? You know,
You're right. You're right.
so
You're right.
and
You're
I
right.
just want to ask a question before I let you go here. I know you're tight on time. When you're as an Instagram influencer, how do you decide what you will influence about? In the sense that obviously you must have hundreds of organizations reaching out to you. What's your vetting process look like, and how do you decide what you want to get behind?
Yeah, I mean, I think in the beginning I was very naive, and of course, I just want to help any cause that is, appearing to be doing good work. And I've never been paid by United Hatzalah, FIDF. Like I've never been paid by these organizations. I've attended their events, um,
Oh, you hit me with my
and
the two. You hit me in the
I
gut
know,
right there.
I
But
know,
I know I'm not.
I
Listen,
know.
I'm not. It's not.
Yeah,
I'm
I've
not to make it
never.
about that. Yeah,
No, no, but it's no, and I mean I think it's really important for people to know where their money is going to. On the flip side of that, if I am always happy if people are supporting organizations that are Jewish and connected to Israel instead of putting their money towards universities which are, enabling anti-Semitism or museums or the arts or whatever it may be, like any Jewish or Israel related cause to me is better. I think I like that. I like knowing that that's the priority in that person's heart and mind. I think that that does something to us as Jews philanthropically and for our neshamas. But yeah, these days I don't do so many uh, partnership type things. I speak a lot for different organizations. Whoever asks me, generally, I'll say yes to speak because I want to get my message out there as widely and broadly as possible. But and it's been amazing to me because I've said some really polarizing things, and I will still get hired by like Hadassah as their keynote speaker. And they are, extremely bipartisan. Um, and I think, it's kind of amazing. And I hope that it would inspire other people to not be afraid to speak the truth. Because even though there have been consequences, I've still been able to maintain a career in this space. And I think people also have a lot more respect for you when you are honest. But yeah, these days I'm primarily just partnering in terms of, whoever hires me to come and speak and meet with our community. That's really what I'm doing right now. And if I attend a gala or um make a post about something, it's usually not paid. Um
got
it's
it.
usually just cuz I'm there socially and supporting the cause.
Right. I found this to be such a complicated issue because there's so many causes. I'm not going to talk about any in specific because it's not we don't have the time, and it's not, I'm not interested in that this second. That's not the point of talking with you here, but it's just interesting to me how a lot of these Instagram influencers have a lot of ability to move the needle on certain issues and bring things into the forefront. And uh, I think it goes, with great power comes great responsibility. So there is something to be said about making sure that they're truly vetted and that everyone actually knows where all the stuff's going. If everyone reads Maimonides, Rambam, there's a whole lot of attention that has to be done to tzedakah when people are giving charitable contributions. And I think that that's incumbent on individuals more than even
Yeah.
the influencers. I think that people, frankly, would be pretty stupid to see one Instagram post and say, "Oh, I'm going to throw all my money behind this one cause." I think people should look into it also. That doesn't make sense to only see this and then do that. But at the same time, people really do trust their news source. People have abandoned
Well, yeah,
mainstream
I mean,
news.
and
You
that's
are their mainstream news for
yeah,
thousands of people.
that is a responsibility I don't take lightly at all. And that's why, it's always been important to me to be as transparent as possible, especially in regards to those types of things, because people listen to me and people trust me. And the whole reason for this legal action that I'm taking is because I want people to know that this is not true, that I am speaking only as Lizzy Savetsky, not on behalf of the Israeli government and not on behalf of any organization. Nobody's paying me to say what I say. It's just me. And like, I need that level of authenticity and transparency to have that trust. Because if that's broken, I have no power, The only power I have is in my followers' trust in me. So
Right.
I take it very seriously. And like, when we were doing my daughter's bat mitzvah project, I was very uh, thorough in researching what organization that we would partner with. We ended up partnering with IDF Widows and Orphans. I wanted to give attention to an organization that isn't getting all the limelight, that really needs our help, where we could actually have a real impact. And my buddy Mordecai Weiss has a thousand strong, which is just totally grassroots, and they do a lot of amazing work. And some of my other buddies have this organization, Let's Do Something. And I'm trying as much as I can to bring more attention to these more grassroots organizations where we know we can see where the money's going. They're not being influenced. I mean, they're not having to answer to these big time CEOs who are being paid however much money in their salaries and whatever, I think anytime money like that gets involved, it just always ends up polluting the integrity. It just
Correct.
does.
And you also have different board members that have different interests, or it might be, and I think that's something I
Yeah.
hope that in the aftermath of October 7th, a lot of the people in the community can wake up to that reality. And it's not to say that big organizations are inherently bad, but I think that some of the grassroots stuff is very important. And I appreciate that you're doing that. Before I let you go, what are you talking about these days in your speaking tour?
So right now, my biggest priority is to just empower the students in on campus. I'm going to Brandeis today, and it's probably not the safest or emotionally safest place to feel proudly Jewish. And I just feel like if I can encourage them to stand strong, to also um, know what they're talking about. And one of the things that I try to do is just give over the facts in as non-flowery, easy to digest way as possible, so that they can digest them and then share them with their friends. But really the goal is I just want them to feel supported, like they're not out here on their own, um, fending for themselves, that we have their back, that we will be here when push comes to shove, just like we have been over the past 2 years. Um, and I just want to be there for them. So that's really my number one priority right now with this. And it's so I don't want to be like some like queen in an ivory tower. I want to be on the ground. And I've always, this has always been a priority to me, is being on the ground, talking to the students, talking to the people, connecting, hearing firsthand from them. I learn more from them than they can learn from me. And that informs a lot of the content that I make. And I think it's so important. I like to think like how Golda Meir, she never wanted to be isolated from the people, not to compare myself to like the legend, but she was always connecting with the
That's a good
people.
leader.
And
It's a
I
good
think,
leadership quality, right?
yeah, I always want to be like that. I think that's why I love what I do. So I'm doing it more for myself. It's a selfish mission to connect with the people.
Well, I listen. I survived Brandeis, and I wish that there were speakers like yourself that would come in and actually give alternative perspectives. I was there when they canceled Ion Hersey Ali, and all sorts of other things. So hopefully, you're able to get the message through to Brandeis. And
Yeah, and I'm definitely not an expert on anything except for speaking the truth unapologetically. And I just want to encourage them to do the same. I just want them I just want to be a relatable voice that they can connect to, that they can lean on. And I
God
have
and
them
God and
sliding in
God
my
willing,
DMs, and that's it.
God willing, it's you're safe and everything's good. And I'm sure
Please
the
God.
security is going to be pretty crazy.
Yeah, we have to. And it's such a shame. But yeah, this is what we have to think about before every event now.
Lizzy Savetsky, thanks for coming on and clarifying that you're not paid by the Israeli government. And if people claim that, there will be legal action. So I appreciate you taking the
That's
time
right.
and explaining the story.
Thank you so much for promoting the truth. I appreciate it, Daniel.
Thanks.